Your cat may act independent, aloof, even mysterious. But make no mistake, they trust you with their entire sense of safety. And what if the things you do every single day, the habits that feel completely normal, even loving, are slowly damaging that sense of safety from the inside? Not in an obvious way, not in a way you would notice right away, but in a quiet, invisible way that could already be happening in your home right now. Most cat owners never realize it until the behavior changes, the bond weakens, or the cat they thought was fine starts shutting down in ways they don't understand. So stay with me, because by the end of this video, you will never look at your cat the same way again. Welcome to Lucky Cat. If you're new here, subscribe right now. This channel exists to give your cat the life they actually deserve, not just the one we assume is good enough. Here are 7 everyday things that hurt your cat way more than you think. 1. Punishing them after the fact. Picture this. You walk into the room and the plant is knocked over. The sofa is scratched. There's urine outside the litter box. Something has been shredded, broken, or ruined. And your cat is sitting nearby, ears slightly back, body tense, watching you. So you raise your voice. Maybe you point at the mess. Maybe you pick them up and carry them over to it. Maybe you say their name in that sharp tone they already know means trouble. It feels like teaching. It feels like correction. But here's the truth most cat owners never hear. Your cat does not sit there replaying what they did an hour ago and connecting it to your anger now. Cats learn through immediate association. If the consequence comes too late, what they are far more likely to learn is this: your approach is scary, your voice is unpredictable, and your presence near that location is something to fear. And that matters more than most people realize. When owners rely on punishment, studies in cats have found worse outcomes, not better ones. Positive punishment has been linked with more severe aggression in adult cats, and owner surveys have also found that verbal and physical correction are associated with more unwanted behavior, not less. So what is your cat actually learning in that moment? Not, don't scratch. Not, don't pee there. Not, don't knock that over. They're learning that when something bad happens in the house, you become dangerous. Over time, that can poison the bond itself. The cat who starts running when you enter the room, the cat who flattens their ears when you approach the accident, the cat who swats out of nowhere later on. Those behaviors don't come from stubbornness. They come from fear, confusion, and a breakdown in trust. You are not correcting the past. You are changing how your cat feels about you in the present. And if that's hard to hear, keep watching, because the last one on this list hits even deeper, and it's wrapped in one of the biggest myths people still believe about cats. 2. Never letting them use their nose. When was the last time you let your cat truly investigate something at their own pace? A cardboard box, a grocery bag, a blanket that smells like outside, a safe new object, a shelf near an open window, a scent trail from a toy, catnip, silver vine, or something you brought home on your clothes. If you're like most owners, the honest answer is probably not often enough. We think of enrichment as something visual: a toy, a tower, a laser pointer, a moving thing to chase. But for cats, the world is also made of scent. Their environment is not just what they see, it's what they smell, where they've rubbed, what changed overnight, who has been where, and whether their territory still feels like theirs. Cats use scent to investigate, orient themselves, and regulate how safe a space feels. That's why they rub their cheeks on corners. That's why they sniff your shoes. That's why a single new smell in the house can change their entire mood. And when we constantly interrupt that process, overclean every scent marker, or give them a life with no safe novelty to investigate, we cut them off from one of the most important ways they make sense of the world. Research on domestic cats has shown that olfactory enrichment changes behavior in measurable ways. In one study, cats given scent-enriched objects approached faster, sniffed more, rubbed more, and explored more than they did with unscented objects alone. That matters because exploration is not trivial for a cat. It is information. It is emotional regulation. It is territory maintenance. It is how a cat checks whether life still makes sense. So the cat who seems obsessed with a bag, a box, a shoe, or a visitor's coat may not be being weird at all. They may be doing something deeply natural and deeply necessary. Denying a cat the chance to investigate scent is like taking away one of the maps they use to feel safe. And keep watching, because what comes next is one of the biggest welfare mistakes indoor cat owners make, and it quietly creates frustration, anxiety, and behavior problems every single day. 3. Skipping mental stimulation entirely. You feed them, you scoop the litter box, you pet them, you give them a nice place to sleep. You think you're doing everything right. But there is one thing missing from many cats' daily lives that slowly drives them into boredom, frustration, and stress, and it has almost nothing to do with affection. Mental stimulation. Cats were not designed to spend day after day doing absolutely nothing except walking to a bowl, walking to a couch, and staring at the same four walls. Even the most relaxed house cat carries the brain of a small predator. Stalk, chase, pounce, capture, eat, groom, sleep. That rhythm is still in them, and when that rhythm never gets used, something starts to go wrong. The cat who attacks your ankles from nowhere tears through the house at midnight, overgrooms, screams for food constantly, or obsessively knocks objects off counters may not be bad. They may be understimulated. Their body is indoors, but their brain is still hunting for something to do. Cat enrichment research and veterinary behavior guidelines are incredibly clear on this. Indoor cats need outlets for predatory behavior, problem solving, exploration, and control over their environment. Reviews on food puzzles and foraging enrichment report benefits that include reduced anxiety and fear, less aggression, fewer attention seeking behaviors, and better emotional well being. Think about that. A food puzzle instead of a bowl. A wand toy session that ends in a small meal. Kibble hidden in different locations. Vertical routes to climb. A rotation of toys so the world does not feel dead and repetitive. These are not extras, they are necessities, because a bored cat does not become peaceful. A bored cat becomes frustrated, and a frustrated cat eventually finds their own job, usually one you don't like. A mentally fulfilled cat is calmer. A calmer cat feels safer, and a safe cat is a cat who can actually enjoy life with you. Stay with me, because we're not even halfway through, and the next one is one of the biggest reasons people say their cat attacked without warning, when the truth is, the warning was there the entire time. 4. Misreading their stress signals. Has your cat ever started flicking the tip of their tail while you kept petting them? Have they turned their head away when you leaned in? Shifted their ears sideways? Dilated their pupils? Gone suddenly still? Started grooming themselves in a weirdly tense way, giving you that fast little skin twitch down the back? Most people miss these moments, but your cat is not being random. They are communicating. Cats have an entire language of subtle signals they use before they ever growl, swat, or bite. The problem is that humans are often terrible at reading them, especially the quieter ones, and science backs that up. A recent study on human perception of cat communication found that people were much worse at identifying feline discontentment than more obvious states like contentment or solicitation. In other words, the very signals owners most need to recognize are often the ones they miss. That's where so many unpredictable cats come from. The cat who swatted during petting probably showed tension first. The cat who bit during handling probably tried to move away first. The cat who hid after a visitor arrived probably gave smaller signs long before they disappeared under the bed. When those signals are ignored again and again, cats learn something dangerous. They learn that subtle communication doesn't work, and once a cat believes that, they often skip the quieter signals and go straight to the one that gets results. The swat, the bite, the hard escape. The hard escape. This is one of the most important things any cat owner can learn. A flicking tail is not always playful. Pinned or rotating ears are not relaxed. Wide pupils are not always excitement. A cat who freezes is not always calm. A cat who leaves is not being rude. They are talking. And the moment you start seeing your cat as a creature who is constantly communicating, everything changes. Which brings us straight into the next one, because once you understand their signals, you start to realize how often we call something love when the cat experiences it very differently. 5. Using the wrong kind of touch. You love your cat. Of course you do. So you scoop them up. You hug them tightly. You kiss the top of their head. You rub their belly because it looks soft. You keep petting because they were purring a second ago, so surely they still want more. It feels affectionate. It feels bonding. It feels bonding. But here's what many cats are actually feeling in those moments: overridden, restrained, cornered, overstimulated. Cats are not small dogs, and they are definitely not plush toys. For many cats, the difference between enjoyable touch and stressful touch comes down to one thing: control. Research on human-cat interaction has shown that cats respond more positively when they are given choice and control when humans pay attention to their body language, and when touch is focused on areas cats genuinely prefer, like the cheeks, the base of the ears, and under the chin. The same body of work found that when humans are more passive and let the cat dictate the amount and type of contact, cats show more affiliative behavior and less aggression. That means the problem is often not touch itself. It's touch on our terms instead of theirs. The cat who purrs and then bites may not have snapped out of nowhere. They may have crossed their threshold while you missed the signs. The cat who squirms when held may not be rejecting you. They may simply hate being restrained. The cat who keeps returning for head rubs but hates full body stroking is not inconsistent. They're specific. And honestly, that specificity deserves respect. The kinds of touch cats often enjoy are slower, more deliberate, and more consent-based than humans expect. Let them come to you, offer a finger, see if they rub into it, pet where they prefer. Pause, notice what happens. If they lean in, continue. If their tail starts lashing, their ears shift, or their skin ripples, stop. That is not rejection, that is communication, and honoring it builds far more trust than forcing affection ever will. We're almost at the last two, and the next one is damaging your cat's nervous system in a way many owners never connect to behavior at all. 6. Inconsistent rules and unclear expectations. Monday, your cat is allowed on the counter because you're busy and don't feel like dealing with it. Tuesday, you yell because there's paw prints near the stove. Wednesday, someone else in the house feeds them at the table. Thursday, they get pushed away for begging. Friday, they sleep on the bed. Saturday, a guest comes over and suddenly the bedroom door is shut and the whole routine changes. Your cat has no idea what world they're supposed to be living in. Cats are creatures of territory, pattern, and prediction. They relax when the environment makes sense, when resources stay where they belong, when routines repeat, when the rules are readable, when people respond in ways that are consistent, and when that doesn't happen, stress shows up fast. One of the clearest studies on this found that when cats were exposed to unusual changes in routine and environment, even healthy cats showed a sharp rise in sickness behaviors. Their risk of appetite changes, litter box problems, avoidance, and other stress-related signs went up significantly, simply because the world became less predictable. Think about how serious that is, not because someone was cruel, not because something dramatic happened, just because the routine stopped making sense. So when rules change based on mood, when one person allows something and another punishes it, when feeding, play, access, and attention all happen unpredictably, your cat is left trying to map a world that keeps moving under their feet. That does not create a challenging cat. It creates a stressed cat. Cats do better with steady rhythms, clear boundaries, predictable resource placement, consistent responses from the humans in the home, because a cat who knows what to expect can finally unclench, and a cat who can unclench is a cat who can actually feel safe. And now the last one, the one I told you about at the beginning. The one wrapped inside one of the oldest, most damaging myths people still tell about cats. 7. Treating alone time like it doesn't matter. There is a story people love to tell themselves about cats, that they're solitary, that they don't really miss us, that as long as the bowl is full and the litter box is clean, they're fine, that when we leave for the day they barely care. That cats are emotionally self-contained in a way dogs are not. That story is comfortable. And for a lot of cats, it is incomplete at best. Not every cat experiences owner absence as distress. That part matters, but the idea that cats are unaffected by separation is simply not true. The PLOS One survey found that a meaningful subset of cats showed separation-related problems, including destructive behavior, excessive vocalization, inappropriate urination, agitation, and depression-like apathy during owner absence. Another study found that cats initiated more contact with their owners after longer separations, suggesting that absence changes the social dynamic more than people assume, and in an unfamiliar setting, cats showed fewer stress-related behaviors when their owner was actually present, while owners sent alone did not create the same calming effect. That last part matters a lot, because many people assume leaving behind a shirt is enough. For cats, your scent may be familiar, but it is not the same as you. So the cat who stops eating more you're away, the cat who gets louder, clingier, more destructive, more shut down, or more unsettled when your schedule changes, that cat is not being dramatic. They may be struggling with the emotional fact that your presence matters more to them than the stereotype ever allowed. You don't need to never leave. That isn't realistic, and it isn't the point. The point is to stop treating your absence like it has no emotional weight. Before you leave, give them something meaningful, a play session that lets them stalk, chase, and pounce, a puzzle feeder or hidden food trail, a window perch, fresh enrichment. If you're gone for long stretches, support that routine with check-ins, a sitter, or changes that make the environment feel less empty and less static. And when you come home, don't assume the reunion means nothing just because your cat doesn't launch into your arms. Some cats will run to the door, some will circle your legs, some will blink from across the room and approach a minute later, some will act casual and then refuse to leave your side for the next hour. Pay attention. Meet them where they are, sit down, speak softly, let them come to you, and when they ask for contact, answer it. Because here's the thing that gets lost in all the behavior science, all the studies, all the expert language. Your cat has built their emotional map of home around you. Their safety, their routine, their confidence, their sense of what belongs and what doesn't. So much of it runs through your presence, and all they're asking, every single day, is that you learn to see what they've been trying to tell you all along. You do not have to be a perfect cat owner. Nobody is. But now you know. You know what they need. You know what gets missed. And that changes everything. If this video made you think differently about your cat, share it with someone who loves theirs. Hit subscribe if you want to keep going deeper. Because at Lucky Cat, this is just the beginning.